Now, please welcome our second Star Award recipient, Robert Mahoney. Robert. You put on a tie. All right. You know, Bob, just like some of our folks who have been here tonight and been recognized, you're not actually from Arlington.
No.
You moved to Arlington. What brought you here?
Well, after finished college, we moved to Fort Worth, Texas, and I went to work in a bank in Fort Worth. And about 4 or 5 years later, I had a job offer to come to Arlington to another bank. And so my wife and I came out to be introduced to Arlington, and we had not yet been able to buy a home, and so we were looking at having a home here in Arlington, and our children were very young and ready for school, so we were looking at school districts. And so when we looked at Arlington and all it had to offer, we decided this was the town we wanted to put our roots down in, and so in 1970 we moved to Arlington to get started.
And we're glad that you did. And you know, you left banking and went into business for yourself. Tell us about some of the businesses, what they did, why they got your attention, why you chose them.
Well, after 9 years in banking and doing commercial loans to various business people and getting to know their business, I figured out I was on the wrong side of the desk. The people on the other side of the desk were normally making more money than I was, and they had businesses that were growing and prospering and increasing their values, and I thought that route looked much better, so I decided to leave banking. And back then, if you could spell real estate in Dallas-Fort Worth, you could probably make money in real estate. And so I went in the real estate business, developing residential lots to sell to home builders and build out neighborhoods. And after doing that for a few years, then I decided to do some areas outside of real estate, so invested in, started outdoor advertising business and billboard businesses in Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston and Michigan. And then as that went along, and sold it, part of that business, and then started an overnight express courier business in small packages in 3 states. And when we sold that, and we went on and did a dental laboratory in Denver, Colorado, and then back in '99, when the Barnett Shell gas development was starting, we did programs on that with 2 different operators and invested in the natural gas business.
Well, and all that from right here in Arlington, right? Starting
Yes.
companies in
Right.
other places, and our community has benefited greatly for it. You certainly played a large role in the development of Arlington. How was development in the past, and you know, how has it changed?
Well, like many other suburban cities in the Dallas-Fort Worth areas, they normally start out with population of home building and residential neighborhoods growing and getting larger. And Arlington was doing that, and as it matured, then the Great Southwest Industrial District was up and running, and retail was growing rapidly, and office buildings were growing rapidly. And so over the years, where we find ourselves now, much of our land has been built out, and there's not the quantity of land left. And so what has happened in Dallas and Fort Worth over the last 10 to 20 years is a great deal of redevelopment. And so I would believe that over the next 10 to 20 years, we're going to see a tremendous amount of redevelopment in Arlington. I'm quite pleased and thrilled to see that the City of Arlington and the voters approved a sales tax for economic development, and I think that will be very helpful in helping Arlington take areas that have been developed but can be taken to a higher and better use, and more employment for more people, and better housing and better quality of life.
Well, I can tell you, Robert was on the Chamber Foundation for years, and he's been beating the redevelopment drum for a long time, and he's right, we got a lot of work to do there. You know, we continue to benefit from all the work that you've done, but what we want to do is get you to stand up there for a second. We also have a video for you.
In the early 70s, Robert Mahoney was one of several young Arlington bankers who were mentoring professionals in business, women and men, who were moving to our city in large numbers. This experience launched a lifetime business career in development and investments on Robert's part. Robert's a thinker and a strategist. Some of the economic development ideas that he championed decades ago are now being implemented. Thank you, Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce, for recognizing his visionary leadership. Congratulations, Robert.
Well, first of all, I would love to just congratulate Robert. He has been I've been acquainted with Robert for over 50 years. He's been a dear friend for probably 30 of that 50 years, the last 30 years. And he's very deserving of this award. When I kind of slow down and think about, the successes that he's experienced in life, he obviously has been gifted with outstanding business acumen. He surrounds himself with people of high integrity and trust, and that obviously has benefited him and his family in many ways throughout his business career. He believes in giving back to the community that he's located in and supporting it in multiple ways. That again is a outstanding attribute of Robert, and I treasure the friendship that he and I have, and will continue to build on our friendship.
Robert Mahoney came to Arlington from a bank in Fort Worth, but he came from West Texas. He came from Big Spring, and he came with a twang in his voice and a twinkle in his eye and a smile on his face. And he found out quickly that maybe banking was not his forte. He wanted to get into something that made more money. So in 1976, he got out of banking and went into development. And from development, he joined the chamber, became involved as just a member, then he became involved on subcommittees, then he became involved on the board, and then he became involved in the executive committee. And that's when I would like to tell a little story about that. They had asked me to be the executive director of the chamber when they needed a director and somebody interim to fill in. So I was there, and there was a search committee that Robert was the head of, and the search committee was going to spend money for a high-powered search team to find a new chamber president. And I'd been there a couple of months, and I told Robert, I said, there's a guy sitting in the office next to me that I think deserves the job. He's really been doing my job. He writes the speeches, he does all the kind of things that I needed to do, and he does it in a very, very efficient way. And Robert said, well, who's that? And I said, it's David Sampson. And he said, well, he's a preacher. I don't know if we want to hire a preacher. And I said, well, Robert, we're going to tell you how a preacher can handle this chamber. And of course, David is legendary in what he did for the chamber. Congratulations, Robert Mahoney, on receiving the Chamber Star Award. Well deserved, my friend.
All right, Robert. So is there some people you want to thank, Robert?
Yes, I certainly want to say thank you to my family. My wife has been my childhood sweetheart and soulmate, and we are in our 59th year of marriage. And it's been one of the biggest blessings in my life. And also, my son Scott Mahoney and my daughter Holly Huffman are both here this evening, and they have spent a good portion of their adult working careers working with us in our family businesses, and that has made us a very happy and blessed family. So I thank them very much. Certainly want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the thousands of people over the years that I've met that have been working to make Arlington a better place to live by having business be involved in the city government, education, quality of life foundations. The Arlington Chamber of Commerce is proven time and time again that Arlington is a better place to live and a better place to find out where you can grow your business here, and very thankful and appreciative of the help.
All right, thank you, Robert. We have one of these for you. We'll get it after the show. We really appreciate you. Let's give Robert Mahoney a big round of applause.
Thank you.